What exactly is this Kundalini serpent energy that rises up our 33 vertebrae tree of life? And what are these supposed 7 chakra wheels of light? What is all this symbolism actually pointing towards? Harajat Khalsa wrote, "The ancient yogis and sages who developed Kundalini yoga had a deep respect for the creator of this human body. They knew in their profound devotion and worship that so perfect a creator could only have created perfection in design, function, and potential. Based on this respect, they sought knowledge of the totality of the human being. They researched the human ability to maintain good health, increase vitality, open consciousness, and expand the experience of the excellence of human life. Their research gave them a great understanding of the nervous system, glandular system, organ system, energy system, and brain. They learned how blood, nerves, muscles, organs, and glands all work together. They investigated the seen and the unseen, and the interrelationships between the physical and the subtle. From this research, they developed Kundalini Yoga. Kundalini Yoga is a highly evolved technology based on a thorough understanding of the ecology of the human body, how the breath affects the thinking, how the angle of a finger affects the pituitary gland. This technology works with the systems of the human body using the body's own means. Hand position, breath, posture, sound, and motion are employed in various ways to create the optimum balance among all the body's components. Until recent times, these techniques had been secret, taught only to a chosen few. When babies are born, their entire 33 vertebrae spinal column is loose, flexible, and independently operating. By adolescence, however, the first 4 vertebrae begin fusing into a single unit, known as the coccyx, and by early adulthood, the next 5 vertebrae fully fuse into another single unit, known as the sacrum. No longer able to move about freely and independently, various processes of the cerebrospinal system become constricted and deregulated, such as the relaxation response, hormone production, and the flow of spinal fluid. Ancient yogis also taught that the root of individuated consciousness, the divine essence within man, originates at our first chakra point, the perineum, nestled and stuck by the many fused vertebrae. This Kundalini energy desires to travel upward along the spine, illuminating the 7 chakra centers and resulting in a fully realized, individuated, enlightened being. Since the awakening of Kundalini requires extensive initiation, including meditation, breathing practices, advanced stretching, a plant-based diet, chastity, and other austerities, the majority of humanity remains unaware of this powerful, transformative energy to their own physical and spiritual detriment. Kundalini energy desires to climb our trees of life, but finds itself trapped by our fused lower vertebrae. So esotericists have long symbolized this with a serpent coiled around an egg 3.5 times. In order to uncoil the serpent from its nest egg and allow Kundalini to rise up the tree of life, the initiate must sincerely dedicate themselves to a variety of holistic, healthful practices and self-discovery through asceticism and introspection, which will begin the process of ascension. As Kundalini ascends, one by one, the 7 main energy centers of the body become illuminated, meaning the physiological and psycho-spiritual processes associated with each chakra become optimized. These 7 energy centers, all of which are located along the cerebrospinal column, corresponding directly to a major nerve ganglia, endocrine gland, or internal organ, and have actually been measured electromagnetically to produce 10-fold stronger biofields than non-chakra points. They each have physiological manifestations related to their location in the physical body, but also extend into the energy body, affecting us emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually as well. Muladhara, the red root chakra, is located in the perineum and relates to the gonads, adrenal medulla, and the pubococcygeus muscle that controls ejaculation. Psychologically, the root chakra controls security, survival, and the fight or flight response. Swadhisthana, the orange sacral chakra, is located in the sacrum and relates to the testes or ovaries, the genitourinary system, and the adrenals. Psychologically, the sacral chakra controls sexuality, relationships, violence, addictions, pleasure, creativity, and enthusiasm. Manipura, the yellow solar plexus chakra, is located in the solar plexus and relates to the metabolic and digestive systems, the pancreas and adrenal cortex. Psychologically, the solar plexus chakra controls power, will, fear, and anxiety. Anahata, the green heart chakra, is located at the thymus in the middle of the chest and relates to the immune, circulatory, and endocrine systems responsible for fending off disease, blood flow, and maturation of T cells. Psychologically, the heart chakra controls love, compassion, rejection, equilibrium, and well-being. Vishuddha, the blue throat chakra, is located at the thyroid, which produces the thyroid hormone responsible for growth and maturation. Psychologically, the throat chakra is related to communication and growth through expression. Ajna, the indigo third eye chakra, is located at the pineal gland, the precise geometric center of the brain. The pineal gland is light sensitive and produces melatonin, which regulates sleep and dream states. Psychologically, the third eye chakra is related to intuition and clarity of mind. Sahasrara, the violet crown chakra, is located at the crown of the head and relates to the pituitary gland, which secretes hormones to control the endocrine system and connects to the central nervous system via the hypothalamus. Psychologically, the crown chakra is related to beingness, pure consciousness, and karma. Ervin Laszlo wrote, "Of the 7 primary chakras that are deemed to mediate the awareness and energies of our personal energy field, 5 are considered to align primarily along the main meridians up our spine. 1 is between and slightly above our eye level, and the last sits at the crown of our head. Associated with nerve plexuses and the endocrine system of our bodies, which secretes and regulates hormonal balances, the chakras, as viewed by Eastern traditions, have a primary role in the mediation of consciousness. The electronic recordings of the human biofield were found to be strongest over the chakras. When the signal from the nervous system's alternating field was filtered out, at the frequencies above 500 cycles per second, the continuous low-intensity direct field seemed to be around 10 times as high as the field through which the body's nervous system is controlled, although its intensity is less than half that of a resting muscle." In the 1990s, scientist Itzhak Bentov studied Kundalini from an engineering perspective and hypothesized that traditional yogic practices were actually advanced methods for stimulating endocrine glands to release higher amounts of hormones, endorphins, and endogenous DMT, which directly caused the raising of consciousness. Bentov found the 7.5 Hz oscillation rhythm of the heart affect frequencies in the brain and create the stimulus equivalent of a current loop. In other words, the current homogenizes brain hemisphere activity, which in turn optimizes the secretion and flow of various bodily chemicals and fluids along the cerebrospinal system, causing an upgrade in both health and consciousness. Bentov also theorized that this made the body an effective antenna for the 7.5 Hz frequency, which just so happens to be the resonant frequency of the ionosphere, and could potentially be a mechanism allowing heightened intuition by literally picking up and gleaning information from the ether. Dr. Lee Sanella wrote, "A new center, presently dormant in the average man or woman, has to be activated, and a more powerful stream of psychic energy must rise into the head from the base of the spine to enable the human consciousness to transcend the normal limits. This is the final phase of the present evolutionary impulse in man. The cerebrospinal system of man has to undergo a radical change, enabling consciousness to transcend the limits of the highest intellect. Here, reason yields to intuition, and revelation appears to guide the steps of humankind. This mechanism, known as Kundalini, is the real cause of all so-called spiritual and psychic phenomena, the biological basis of evolution and development of personality, the secret origin of all esoteric and occult doctrines, the master key to the unsolved mystery of creation, the inexhaustible source of philosophy, art, and science, and the fountainhead of all religious faiths, past, present, and future." Julius Evola wrote, "Yoga techniques aim at revealing the spiritual corporeity to a clear and alert consciousness. This involves an expansion of consciousness itself, and its development into a superconsciousness that replaces those forms of impaired and dulled consciousness. I would like to suggest at this point that some absurd psychoanalytical interpretations of yoga are circulated in the West by people who are extremely ignorant of even the most basic principles of yoga. According to these interpretations, yoga is supposed to induce hypnotic or trance-like states, like those experienced by a medium, that are below, rather than above, the level of ordinary waking consciousness.